Super. Hey guys, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session on the impact of early signs and the ways to deal with the online harassment. I am Sridhar, AVP Academic Operation, ISC member of the Child Safety team at Vedantu. And we have Anuj and Pam joining me in this session. Anuj, you are on a mute.
Hi everyone, good evening. I am Manoj, co-founder and partner at Space to Grow. We are a social impact consulting firm, and one of our areas of specialization includes digital safety and child protection. We are Vedantu's knowledge and
Anuj,
technical partner for digital safety.
Anuj, 1 second, there is some issue here. Uh, just give me a minute. Looks like some technical problem here.
Yeah, sure.
Our video is not streaming there. Just a second. Mm. Guys, just bear with us. Looks to be some problem here. This link. Can you share with me that link? Okay, sorry, students, for that small issue there. Hey, everyone, good evening again. I am Sridhar, AVP Academic Operations and ISC member of the Child Safety team Vedantu. I have Anuj and Pam joining me to address on the topic of impacts, early signs, and the way to deal with the online harassment. Welcome, Anuj. Welcome, Pam. Would like to have a quick intro from you before we proceed on this workshop.
Yeah, thanks, Sridhar. Hi everyone, good evening. I am Manoj, co-founder and partner at Space to Grow. We are a social impact consulting firm, and one of our areas of specialization includes digital safety and child protection. We are Vedantu's knowledge and technical partner for digital safety. Pam, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. My name is Pam. I'm a psychologist and a student counselor here at the Child Safety team at Vedantu.
Superb. Great to have you, Pam and Anuj here. So, friends and the students, right? We are in the era of decade, right? I hope you heard what I said. I didn't say decade. I said tech aid. That means we are in the world of technology. So we are consuming the online every day in and out, whether in the form of a content or in the form of a networking and the socializing and everything. So, in this whole era of a decade where we are dependent on the online too much for various aspects, right? Our games are online. Lot of students and all of us are playing the games on the online front. Our social networking is on the online, whether it is a Facebook, Twitter, Insta, YouTube. Lot of networking happening on the online, and our content consumption or a study is also happening online, right? Whether it is a YouTube classes, Vedantu classes, and n number of online classes. So the whole consumption is happening on the online front. While that is a great, right, we are getting a lot of solution and it is very beautiful to be there. It has its own consequences or some limitations which are to be addressed there. The students are the age group for as early as 3 years. You know, Pam and Anuj, I have a daughter. Our first class was an online class. While we first started our class in the school, we went to the school compound teacher. For her, it was like the first class happens online. She's sitting in front of a laptop and studying, and that's what the pandemic brought, right? Pandemic increased the footprint of the online reach to multiple fold, and that was something which was going very very wonderful on ensuring the learning continues, right? There has been a lot of advantages of the online, but there are certain challenges which are happening on the online. For instance, we were like talking to the students. We were been doing the workshops because even yesterday, and there was a student who was coming and talking that she was getting a lot of unwanted messages on her mobile, and she was being stalking by someone else, right? And it was very scary and very stressful for that particular student to go through this. And she didn't know how her number was available for the another person to do that. She was facing the whole harassment, or yes, as the slide speaks, around the cyber harassment. So online ka came with a lot of boon. It also had certain pain, and we all have to work solving that the whole concept, right? So with this unlimited access happening to the online world comes with its own limitations, right? So Anuj, what is your view on this whole thought of the limitations that we have on the online platforms?
Yeah, Sridhar, couple of things. One point you touch upon technology, and second, what's the issue? Why there are such challenges. Just talk about today, technology has influenced human life more than perhaps any other single factor, whether in a good way or a bad way.
Hmm.
But the fact is that we can't do away with technology, and hence it is important to know like how to be safe in the digital world. For as far as like a challenge, this thing we through our work on digital safety, what we have realized is there is a lack of awareness amongst both children and parents, which is leading to some sort of a cyber harassment and other form of exploitations. Uh, Once I heard this from a parent, I mean, I was surprised to hear that, Shida. ऑनलाइन है ना, किसी को पता नहीं चलता, इग्नोर करना चाहिए. So that fact that ignorance is like people want to ignore everything, assuming that everything is happening on on online and nobody will be able to see it.
Yeah.
This thought of online space not being visible is so untrue, Shida. It definitely requires intensive awareness to really accept the fact that online harassment exists and needs proper redressal. That's a key, focus on awareness and redressal.
Turn on the AC, that's it.
Further, talking on the subject, Sridhar, I want to just talk about, some forms of harassment in online space, which will give an idea about, what's happening on, what sort of harassment and cases which are coming up in the online space. Let me take a few examples, which children are facing mostly these days. One is cyber stalking. It'd be surprised that we have been hearing of stalking in physical space, but we have to also understand that it can happen in online spaces as well. Something sometimes we don't accept the fact that stalking. How can stalking happen in a physical in an online space? A person might be persistently following another person through social media or any other platform on in the internet and make the other person feel uncomfortable. We have seen instances where the child, joins a social media group for classes, like a lot of ed tech companies and even in the physical space, tutors. They tend to create certain groups, on, for a easy communication. The intent is good, but what happens is that if the previous settings are not set up properly, another person in the group start following the child, and then that person starts engaging with the child with wrong intentions.
Yeah.
Uh, Another form of is exposure to explicit content. In simple words, it is sharing
Anuj, you
or
need to be a bit louder, please. That's the message we are getting from the students. Sorry to interrupt you there.
yeah, no problem, Sridhar.
Yeah.
Another form is exposure to explicit content. Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Okay. Another form is exposure to explicit content. In simple words, it is sharing or forwarding inappropriate images or videos of someone to another person. We have seen that generally this is done with the intention of bullying or revenge. These are things like we have to keep in mind why somebody will be doing it. So
Hmm.
this is bullying or revenge. It could be either of these two reasons. It doesn't matter who has shared the image, video initially, or even if it is mocked by someone. It is important, therefore, we don't forward such image, video, and become part of the harassment process. So we have to stop the chain. It's so important. Once we get an image, we think that it's not me who has been circulating this image, and then we tend to just forward that image. But we have to break the cycle. That's important, and we have to keep in mind a simple rule: report करें और share ना करें. This is so important to save yourself and protect others. Pam, will you want to add any other form, or would you like to highlight anything else on this thing?
Yeah, adding to Anuj, I would also like to mention that, just like there are bullies in the physical world, right, who want to hurt a person or a child, by saying mean things or by teasing, right, there are also bullies in the online space, right, and, that's what we call cyberbullying, right. Now, we've had cases of cyberbullying where a child will get, unwanted messages from, an unknown number, and, just because the person's number was leaked in a group chat, right. And there could also be there were cases where a person would send comments or messages to someone openly in public platforms, right. Now, in public platforms, it could be under someone's picture, or it could be in a public chat, right. And these comments could be fat shaming or discriminating comments, which are really hurtful, right, and which can affect the other person. In other cases, there are also, cases where a person will pretend to be somebody else online,
Oh.
right. And I think this is very common. I think this one, most of the children will also be able to relate who are attending here today. And you may have heard of cases where someone will pretend to be a boy or a girl online and say that use the other boy or girl's name, age, gender, and even location. A boy may say that I'm this girl from who stays in Delhi, or even use their grade and say that I'm in grade 10, or maybe it's an adult, or maybe
Yeah.
it may be a young kid, right. And these people will start chatting with random people,
Oh.
right. And in our in my experience, we've also had cases where a student had pretended to be a teacher on social media. So the student had used the teacher's name and pictures and began to chat with random people online, right. Now, this is in very simple words, this is basically identity theft, right. And this is very common, and this is misusing somebody else's personal information, and in most cases the other person will not even know that their personal information is being used, right. So yeah.
Oh. That's thanks for that information on the types of harassment, right? I would also like to ask the audience who is live here, right? Would have they have gone, to any of these harassment types which are mentioned? There could be more than one type of harassment the students would have gone, right? And as Pam was telling, someone just faking the other person's name and contacting and stalking is the one of the very very common thing, right? We also get every day a message just telling, hey, I am your friend's brother or a sister or something there, right? So would like to hear from the audience, what type of harassment they have faced online, while we get the responses here. Uh, Anuj and Pam would like to ask, like, if these are the type of harassments which are happening, so the harassment is also done by someone, right? So who are these harassers? So what how do we see that who is harassing the students here?
Okay, so to better understand the seriousness of online harassment, I am going to use a very sensitive and a very heavy word here. Okay, I'm going to use the word abuser. Okay, so these people who are harassing are abusers. Okay, it can be anyone. It can be a stranger, it can be someone you already know, it can be a classmate, a relative, or even your close friend. Okay, now these abusers, usually have a very poor image about themselves. Okay, and when they hurt other people, they get a sense of power. Okay,
Okay.
so they will usually target people who cannot defend themselves. And, the internet becomes a very good place for them. Okay, and also sometimes in school, when a child gets humiliated in class, right? The child may in turn want to humiliate somebody else as, a form. It can be a form of revenge, or that usually happens in schools, right? So the same behavior also happens in the online space. Okay, so when children have more opportunity to to hide behind anonymity, they can channel their anger, their frustration, or whatever they've faced, right, by inflicting it on somebody else. So then, knowingly, unknowingly, the children themselves also can become the abusers in this case.
Oh, oh, that's
That's Pam, you're absolutely right on this thing, and most of this causes severe mental health consequences for children, including internet addiction, isolation.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, I mean, I don't know whether we are aware of this or not, but most recently, WHO has declared gaming disorder as a disease.
oh,
We have seen that children may disclose an experience of harassment that they have undergone for various reasons, which could be threat, fear, feeling of shame, and lack of awareness. So they keep it within themselves and they don't talk about particular harassment with anybody because of these reasons. And therefore, it is important as a parent to look out for those signs. There will be some early indicators, signs which the parent, it's our responsibility to observe that. And I like Pam over here, will be good to know based on your experience. What are those signs you have seen in children facing online harassment?
Okay, so there are a few, early signs of early warning signs, right, of cyber harassment. But these usually go unnoticed, because they seem very such a usual behavior. Okay, so one may be, spending too much time online or too little time online. Okay, especially when a person is harassed online, that person will want to stay away from social media, will want to stay away from texting, communicating with friends, right? So spending too little time or even too much time, which is seen very much in cyber harassers, right? They love spending time online, so they'll spend a lot of time online. And another warning sign is also being very distant, very withdrawn, not wanting to interact with anyone, right? Or being very easily angered and upset, especially after they use the internet, okay, for texting, for gaming, or for being on social media. After using it, they'll start to feel easily angered, right? And one very important point is they also tend to be very, very secretive. Okay, they'll be
Yeah.
very secretive about whom they're talking to, what are they doing online, right? So these are the few early warning signs of cyber harassment.
oh. Yeah, that's a bit, scary also. I'm like getting worried when I'm hearing, and that was nice to bring that point on the gaming disorder, Anuj, because these are definitely right. Whatever the student faces when in the cyber harassment, right? It is leaving a lot of impact on the students. Pam, Anuj, what are those impacts or what are those effects which students face because of the cyber harassments?
So the effects of cyber harassment can be emotional, it can be mental, behavioral, and physical, right? So emotional can be, I think this is quite common, feeling embarrassed or hurt, when someone posts a mean comment under a picture.
Hmm.
right? And also feeling scared, alone, feeling angry and powerless, right? And in severe cases, it can also lead to depression, anxiety, right? And mental effects can also be, losing interest in studies, losing interest in hobbies, right? And when people receive, hurtful comments, right, like or hurtful messages, like, you're ugly or you're fat or you're skinny, right, it makes people feel like they're not good enough, right? And this can also lead to low self-esteem, low confidence, right? And in extreme cases, especially when it leads to severe depression, one can also resort to self-harm. Okay.
Oh.
And another effect is behavioral. So behavioral, as I said, they can become very secretive, right? And they can also resort to using drugs, alcohol, especially to escape from all the mental and emotional distress. And one very important point is also, since they lose interest in their academics, they will also want to skip classes. Okay, so that's one behavior. And when it comes to the physical effects, because you're constantly thinking about, the incident, right? The harassment. And they're constantly worrying about it. They're in fear most of the time, right? This will also lead to stomach pain, stomach problems, breathing problems, unexplained headaches, right? So these are all caused by anxiety, right? And it can also lead to poor appetite, right? And also one very important thing is, it can also lead to sleep disturbances, because you're constantly thinking about this and worrying about it, right? So it can also lead to that. Now, there are times when the person who is harassing is also a child. Okay, a child. And one may ask, why are they even doing it, right? And as I mentioned earlier, it is mainly to, make themselves feel powerful and in control. Okay, so the person will, feel, the person or child will feel good when the target, right, their target is hurt or humiliated. Okay, and they're mostly weak inside, and so when they manage to hurt someone, they feel powerful. Okay, so this is the dynamics of it. And now the effect of cyber harassment on developing negative traits is far more aggressive than we would expect. Okay, so the harasser would usually continue this kind of abusive behavior even to a greater degree, until they are caught. Okay, and they're usually dishonest and fearful, but because they hide behind the screen, right, their anonymity also gives them that control. And they tend to be very secretive. And again, even the harasser may engage in substance abuse to escape reality. We have also seen, very poor academic performance. They may be smart, but with all this online harassment, their academic performance can definitely drop. Okay, and since they get this sense of power and control, they continue to spend longer time online, right? So the longer time they spend online, this can definitely lead to internet addiction,
Hmm.
right?
Oh. Yeah, thank you, Pam. But now I want to bring this. I'm a parent, right? And I do have a daughter. God forbid if something she faces this, right? But I'm the one who want to help here. How can I make it better for my kid? And what should the role of the parents? I think the maximum parents who are watching us would also like to know, right? We know there is an harassment happening, and there are the harassers, and that leads to so much of effects, right? The mental, physical, emotional, and I'm also we have been seen a lot of cases where student want to take a very extreme step because they have been impacted very badly because of the harassment. So what can parents do when this happens? Again, I wish it should not happen with anyone, but if there is an incident, that how do a parent handle this?
So the most important thing is, when parents provide a non-judgmental space, right? Children tend to feel more safe and open to share their experience. Okay, we have noticed that in many cases, most of the cases, children are very scared. They're in fear. that their parents who scold them if they come to know and all that, right? So for example, if a stranger has sent a message to a child asking for pictures, right, asking the child to send pictures, the child will feel scared of approaching the parents, and the child will feel scared that the child himself will be blamed. Now, most of the time, children tend to think that they are facing the harassment because they themselves have done something wrong,
Hmm.
and they begin to blame themselves and feel ashamed, right? So I think when parents provide that sort of a non-judgmental space, children will definitely feel more safe and open to speak up. Anuj, do you have anything else to add here?
Yeah, Pam, you have already covered some of the points which I was thinking and maybe repeating them. But what we've realized, with the work that we've done is that children need a space which is safe to interact. And as a parent, that is our primary responsibility to create open and free spaces for conversation because we tend to sort of have a one-way communication and we start blaming child, and that's where the child stop sharing the things. It's important that keep in mind that do not blame the child and instead of that provide them support because that's a time when children needs the support of parent because they have nobody else to go and find a support. One of the key points to remember as a parent is to stay calm and address the problem as a peer to the child. Be a friend to the child at this moment because they are going through a mental trauma and maybe they are going through other issues, emotional, behavioral, or other things. It's important that we understand that and we stay with them at that point in time. Another important thing is, as a parent, we should know how to address any situation because, again, I'm coming back to the same lack of awareness, and hence, parents they need to know how to address the situation themselves and who to reach out for redressal, including
Hmm.
seeking professional and counseling help. So, parents need to be themselves of aware of what a cyber harassment is, what and how they should react in a particular situation, and who to reach out for redressal. And there are various professional and counseling support which is available. With Vedantu has been very kind, and they have their counseling support. So they can reach out. Parents can reach out to the Vedantu's counseling team as well.
Okay, so what are the different redressal measures? Like in case a child experiences online harassment, Sridhar, sir, would you like to add here for
Yeah,
redressal measures?
yeah, Pam. So if any unfortunate incident happens on our platform, right, on the Vedantu platform, we have a complete child safety team to look. We have expert counselors, including Pam, right, who has been doing a great job in counseling so many students day in and day out. Right, they have to just reach out to us if the student is on Vedantu platform on the email ID report@vedantu.com, and the whole the student all the concerns will be taken care, and there is a phone number which is 9986 858858, right, on which they can reach out to us, and we have our own team who is going to look after the any concerns that are coming there. But Anuj, one is the incidents happening on the Vedantu platform. We are here to help. What are the other means for the parents and the students if they, encounter any of the online harassment? Where to reach there?
So the first thing is, Shida, I like to highlight this to you, for the parents' sake, is that Vedantu is first ed tech company to have such a
Yeah.
detailed child safety measures been taken. They have a child safety team, and you can always reach out to them, and they are there to support. But there are other various options available, and irrespective of where the harassment has happened in the digital space, children and parents have an absolute right to report directly to regulatory authorities. They can reach out to National Commission for Protection of Child Right (NCPCR) through their POXO e-box. They can file a complaint to the police. They can file a complaint online on cybercrime website. And remember two numbers which are essential for any sort of reporting and seeking any support related to online harassment are 1930 and 1098. 1930 is helpline number provided by cybercrime, and 1098 is a childline helpline number. So any child who needs a support, if they are facing any particular incident, they can reach out for support on 1098. In case if we child has to file, there is an incident happened to a child and it has to be filed police complaint or cyber on a website, will suggest that they seek support from their parents or from any other guardian, if they wish to file a complaint, so that they get it right when they are filing a complaint.
Okay, thank you so much, Anuj. Thank you so much, Sridhar sir, for the redressal measures. I hope everyone was able to note down these very important numbers. We also have a child safety number put up here. So that brings us to the end of our session. I hope that this session was helpful in becoming a little more aware of the issues and impacts of online harassment. Anuj, would you like to add anything here?
Yeah, I like to reiterate that this is a right of the child to be safe online, and we will continue our efforts to make a world safer place for every child. This was the second workshop in that context on cyber harassment. During the work, the Cyber Safety Week, which is happening from November 7th to November 13th.
Yep, and also while this was the second workshop, we have our next workshop on 12th November at 5 p.m., which is day after tomorrow, Saturday at 5 p.m. And the topic is how schools can create awareness around cyberbullying. And we will have a wonderful panel of Lalit Sridhar ma'am from Diksha, then Chitra, the co-founder from the Space to Grow, and our own Pulkit Jain sir, the co-founder from Vedantu, will be talking around how the school can play the role in the whole cyber harassment related incidents. And it was great to spend time on the whole issue around the cyber harassment. Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Anuj, for joining in today. I hope the student had great learnings, and they have noted the numbers, where to report, and they also know what goes behind the harasser and what are the type of impacts it will have on the students. And yeah, let's keep working to create a safe space for students online. Thank you so much once again. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sridhar. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you, Anuj.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.